Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly, back to do a quick video here. And this is going to be my second 30-day challenge video. And actually, I decided to make a little bit of a change for myself here. You know, I have to do everything different. But, I don't know, just as I was kind of, again, just listening to some stuff last night and when I got home from work earlier, I thought just kind of an interesting twist that I'm going to put on it, especially since my challenge won't be exactly 30 days. But I think what I'm going to do is, instead of limiting it to 30 days, I'm basically going to say I'm not going to buy any more vinyl, with the exception of the one day that I've already set aside, which I kind of mentioned before. And even then, I'm not going to buy very much at all. But I'm not going to buy any vinyl until I go through every single piece that I have in my collection. That's CD, cassette, and vinyl. Now, that's not to say go through and listen to every single album, because otherwise I wouldn't, buy any vinyl for the next I don't know how many years. But what I'm really doing is just kind of, slowly and with kind of good purpose, going through each cube, pulling out every single record, at least for a moment, just to, check out the cover really quick, just to kind of recall that I have it. A lot of them kind of taking out, just, flipping over, checking out, just kind of, at least for a moment, even the records I'm not listening to, just kind of diving back into them. And I don't know, I started doing that last night. It was a really cool thing, because again, I started remembering some stuff that I hadn't listened to in quite some time, or I didn't have, I should say, and then some other stuff too that I guess really just, at least for me, I don't tend to think about listening to. Typically there's always something that sparks it with me, where I'll hear someone talk about it in the VC, or see someone pull it out in the VC, or hear something when I'm out and about, and it just makes me kind of go, oh my gosh, I want to go listen to that record. But quite often I don't get an urge to listen to a specific group and then just go without some type of prompting, no matter how small or insignificant it is. I can see someone's t-shirt, someone's wearing a Dio t-shirt, and all of a sudden I'm like, I've got to go home and listen to Dio. That's kind of what happens. So with certain bands, and let me kind of pull out some of the stuff that I listened to over the past 24 plus hours, and this is probably one of the ones that readily fits what I was just saying, especially when it comes to groups like Led Zeppelin or Jimi Hendrix. Those just aren't bands that I just constantly think about going to the stacks to pull out to listen to, mainly because I've listened to some degree, a bit burnt out, because I've, played them so much in my lifetime. Going back to listen to Led Zeppelin 4 or something like that, that's truly kind of a challenge at this point in time, because I played the heck out of that album. But Hendrix is somewhat of the same way. I've listened and played and marveled at Jimmy so much, sometimes he kind of gets lost in, I think, that part of the stack right there. But, no, like I said, I was just kind of going through every single record the other night, and I pulled this one out and saw it, and I was like, huh, I haven't thought about that one in a while. And then threw it on, and it was just like, how in the world could I not have been listening to this? Definitely one of the best live records of all time. Jimi Hendrix, live at Monterey. And of course, this is the one where he did Like a Rolling Stone, absolute great cover. And this is where he did Hey Joe, which out of all the versions I've heard of Hendrix, the version at Live at Monterey is my favorite guitar solo, which is amazing considering he played the first 20 seconds of it with his teeth. But Purple Haze, Wild Thing, Rock Me Baby. I mean, I just jammed this record out last night. I'm like, how in the world did I forget about that? And this is kind of what sparked my thought process behind. That's why I'm going to make my 30-day challenge, is just going through and making sure I at least look. And again, not just a quick flip right by, but a look at every single record in my collection. And until I do that, I'm not going to buy any more vinyl. Playing in the background, this is what I pulled out just a few minutes ago. Hawkwind. Again, totally forgot about this one. Pulled it out, been listening to it so far, and it's Hawkwind, great stuff. Not to mention it gave me a good little reminisce because I think, matter of fact, I do remember, I got this at a Goodwill for only 25 cents. So that was a heck of a find. I sold one of my receivers today, and I've had a couple people come look at it over the last couple days, and this is one of the albums that I pulled out to kind of demo it for them. And of course, once you started listening, I couldn't turn it off. So Danzig, been listening to that. Threw this on last night, another good one. Fever Tree. Some good Psych from 1968, I think. Really, really good stuff. And this is one I really jammed out to as well. If you were a fly on the wall, you would have been cracking up at me dancing all over the place when I was playing this one last night. But, Hang On Sloopy by the McCoys. I'm not sure if you would classify this as a garage rock or whatever. I mean, that's always a term that I've always found. It's gone a number of different ways, but this to me is the epitome of what just a good old classic 60s or 70s garage rock type song is supposed to be like. I mean, Hang On Sloopy, just the lyrics, the story within the lyrics, obviously are cool as can be. A freaking killer guitar solo that I think gets the recognition that it deserves. And just the feel. I mean, there's just such a groove in that song. And that's the kind of stuff that I love in music. And when you kind of see that overlap of, yeah, it's, you know, guitar rock and girls with their long poodle skirts and, you know, everything that they were doing back then in the 60s. But there was a funk type groove hidden underneath that song that I think people just don't tend to recognize that often. And so whenever I hear it, it definitely just kind of jumps out at me. So that was a fun one there. And then the last, I guess, 3 that I have, I did pull this out. I basically listened to record 1. I'm not extremely fond. I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. It's U2, and this is their No Line on the Horizon. Came out in, 2009. It held off on buying this for a long time and finally found one at 50% off, so I picked it up. And again, it's one of their more average albums. Hold on one second, guys. Let me flip the record. Can't do a VC video without music. So yeah, I mean, it's U2, great record in that regard, but for them, I think definitely one of their average albums, with the exception of the song Magnificent. One of those songs that takes me to good places, boy. I really caught on to that when they performed it in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the 25th anniversary, whatever that was, that DVD that's out, and they played that song as opening their set. And the thing I love most about that song is it shows that the genius of the Edge, you know, his guitar playing. In that song, very, very Pink Floyd-ish. And again, I always refer to Pink Floyd when I think about something that has great simplicity, but yet it's just like this incredible piece of music. And the Edge does that as well as anyone. That guy is a genius. I actually saw some article. Was it an article or on YouTube? I can't remember where I saw it, but it was talking about Bono and the Edge, and it said one of the greatest writing duos since McCartney and Lennon, I think is what it said. And I paused for a second because, you know, as soon as you say something like that, even though I'm not a huge Beatles fan, you still have to kind of respect that. And I was about to say, what is it? And I'm like, no, you're possibly right. You know, it's like maybe that's not an outrageous statement at all. And again, it's just that song Magnificent is one of those ones that kind of proves that to me again. So it was good checking that out. Last vinyl. There was somebody. Oh, I can't remember her name now. But we had made a bunch of comments back and forth on a video of the song Promises off of this, and it just made me want to go back and listen to it again. And I mean, in my mind, one of the best 80s new wave songs of all time. Promises, Promises by Naked Eyes. Again, another one of those songs with a hidden groove in it that is just so tight. Great lyrics, great delivery. I mean, just everything that's great about the 80s is captured in that song. So, really want to get this on CD too. They seem hard to come by. They're always expensive. I don't know if they're, want a lot of them printed or whatever the case may be. But Naked Eyes, definitely a great 80s track. CD-wise, after listening to Stiff Upper Lip, I kind of went back and pulled out AC/DC, Black Ice. Checked that out a little bit. And again, vintage AC/DC. Of course, that's Skies on Fire, which is probably my favorite song off of this. And I do have the vinyl too, but I haven't opened it yet, so I tend to listen to the CD a little more. And last but not least, I also hit the cassettes a little bit and did a little Radiohead. Okay, computer. So there you go. That's kind of what's been spinning since last night and today. And also kind of, like I said, give you an update on my vinyl challenge. I think right now, see, I went through all of these stacks last night. I'm right here right now. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Just continue to listen to